is the undisputed master of martial arts. A savage. A saint. A stranger. Lee Van Cleef is the legendary man of iron, a gambler, a gentleman.
Don't get offended, but he just wants to see your,
A gunfighter. Now, from Columbia Pictures,
Welcome to Monterey,
The Stranger and a Gunfighter.
the hanging town.
The most
Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, X7, your master of martial arts, and also the host of Zenrama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, which you are watching and or listening to, whichever you prefer. Today is Martial Arts Matinee, and we're going to be talking about one of those strange Shaw Brothers hybrids. They did a lot in 73, 74, 75, or they tried to. The Stranger and the Gunfighter, also known as by several other names, but it's known here in the States as The Stranger and the Gunfighter. That is Lee Van Cleef, looking ever so buff. Somebody put his face on Hulk Hogan's Thunder, whatever that Thunder show he was on. But before we do that, please like, share, subscribe, and leave me a comment. What do you think about this? I quite enjoyed it this time. It's probably the only second or third time I've watched it, and I haven't seen it for at least a decade. I say that a lot nowadays. But if you're ready, let's see something really different. So we start out here. This is from the original U.S. titles. I believe that it's from the VHS tape that the full screen one. My friend Ted restored it, the titles anyway. And so we get the English titles, and then we go into this is this is the Spanish titles: El Karate, El Colt y El Imposter, which I'm not 100% sure. I mean, it's obviously a play on The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, right? And then here is the German title, or French maybe: La Brute, Le Bête, Le Colt, et La Karate. That might actually be the Italian title. Blood Money is also what it was known as in English. So I have three different versions. You'll notice the quality difference once we change over to the version I got, which was a newer one, Blu-ray. It's directed by Anthony M. Dawson, who we know from many, many movies. Wild Wild Planet's one of my favorites that he's done, but Assignment Outer Space, Battle of the Worlds, Devil of the Desert, Against the Sons of Hercules, the Hercules Prisoner of Evil, Lightning Bolt, which I do have, and I'd kind of like to watch myself again, and Dynamite Joe, War of the Planets. So all of those are, they're not really in alpha in order. Oh, he did Your Hunter from the Future. Anyway, he's done a lot. And, generally they're pretty entertaining. And this one's quite entertaining. It is a Shaw Brothers co-production. So I think some of it there was shot there in China. And then the rest of it was probably shot in Italy, which is gorgeous. Gorgeous photography. Look at the widescreen here. We'll see it better in a moment. But Lee Van Cleef plays Dakota. We've seen him in, of course, Beast from 20,000 Fathoms. It conquered the world. And one other thing, I believe. So he's after a fortune that Mr. Wang has, or should be Wong, really. But all he's got is pictures. And there's Mr. Wong, who's pretending to be a priest. So we get a flashback of how he took all these pictures and what he was doing. And he's very gifted, apparently. So he's stealing it. Mr. Wong shows up and gets killed from the blast. He's dead. So nobody knows where this fortune is. They catch him, and they're going to hang him. Meanwhile, over in China, the local warlord wants to know where Wang Ho Chang, or Chiang, as the dub says, what his uncle's done with his fortune that he sent him over to North America for, right? So he's like, well, or actually, that's not the warlord. That's the Buddhist. He's like, you know, they're in the temple because he's a gung fu expert. And the warlord's guys show up, and he goes with them. Off they go, you know. And they've got his family, and they're going to kill all of them because of his uncle. And Wong beats up a bunch of them, does some jumping. See the interlacing here. This is from the DVD I had, and no longer. I mean, it was great at the time, but and now we suddenly switched to the Blu-ray that where I got from a certain Armageddon of cinema, and it's much better. I mean, when I got that Blu-ray, when I got the DVD, Blu-ray was not a thing yet, so I think it was from a German Blu-ray or a German DVD. This might be from a Spanish Blu-ray. I don't know, but Lo Lee, I don't know if he studied martial arts. He's let's see, King Boxer, Pai Mei, and Executioners from Shaolin and Clan of the White Lotus. Neither movie, which I really love. General Tenta from 36 Chamber of Shaolin. I'm trying to see if he studied anything. Blake, you'll have to chime in here if he did have any actual martial arts training. He had to pick up some. He looks all right. By this time, they weren't doing swingy arm, but he wasn't getting choreographed by Lau Kar-Lung or anybody. So they're testing out so the warlord sends Ho over to the Americas to get his fortune back. They're going to kill Dakota. Can't have that. But there's Lia Hua, Chinese Laundry in Free Junction, New Mexico. And so he's trying to figure out a way. That's his lawyer there. This is a very unfortunate sign, but it's true. I mean, this did happen. But he goes in with a dog, so the dog's accompanied. He's like, the dog's accompanying me. He beats up a couple more people. He beats up the sheriff and gets arrested. And because he figures Dakota knows what's going on. The bottom of every woman is for, and they have the dub. I don't know if that's Lee's real voice because of course, Italy, they shot things silently. But so he talks he talks very stereotypically. They might have had him do it. I think that's Lee Van Cleef's real voice because he would have probably looped his own lines. This movie was released in 1974 in Italy and probably Hong Kong, and 1976, I believe, in the United States. It runs about 100 minutes. Well, this copy ran 100 minutes. The running time for at least in China was 105 minutes, which would have made it it was a little long here, but overall it moves pretty quickly. He's free to leave because his lawyer paid his bail, so he goes, okay, you got a date. They're going to hang him, so he starts singing. The ocean were whiskey and I were a duck, I'd swim to the bottom and never come up. Of course, Ho rescues him and off they go. Wong Ho Chang, fighter by choice, traveler by necessity. And he's Dakota, thief by choice and something else. And they're eating some food, gives them some Chinese tea, then he gives them some very potent Chinese wine or Chinese liquor, which sets it on fire. It's a very funny scene. Now, some of the reviewers said that they didn't have any chemistry, but I think for what they did, that because Lo Lee is not probably a native English speaker, they're in Italy, so there's at least three languages going on here at this point in time. But he's really good with his knife. Before he can draw, yeah. So they've got a mutual thing. This horse here, while they're talking, is having a bath in the street. Is just rolling around in the street. It's this hilarious back bit that they're either not aware of or they just left in the movie because it's what a horse will do when he's hot. So they ride into town, but that is our villain of the piece, Yancey Hobbit, played by Julian Ugarte, who's really good as a wild-eyed a zealot. That's his traveling church, and he goes into the saloon and just shoots two people dead, which I don't know, where's the sheriff here? And he quotes the Bible all the time. I didn't look up to see if they were real quotes, but he's quite good. I mean, so they figured out that the clues are on the bottoms of four different women, one of them being Yancey's woman. So off he goes, and he's going to purify her. I don't know. So unfortunately, well, he gets a drop on him. She's wearing a chastity belt. They unlock it, and she thinks he's another freak. And then he gives him a judo chop with the gun. And yeah, now they're on to New Mexico. So he tells him what happens he tattooed 4 women on the bottom, and he's like, oh, that fortune, I could build a real church. And we've got a fight because apparently that always has to happen. And this guy shows up and he thinks he's going to beat him, but he doesn't because he's tough. I'm assuming he's supposed to be a Native American. Fight promoter. Maybe Indio is Goyo Peralta. I don't know. He didn't ever get a name. And he talks like Tonto. But old Hobbit is what they say. It's not Yancey Hobbit, but it's Hobbit. Like, let's go. So he hires him and off they go. He's got a shot and he's reading. That's his Chinese to English book. I'm assuming this is probably 19th century, maybe. Russian Mistress of Uncle Wong. Yep. So he goes up there and he wins a bunch of money gambling. Where's the money? So, but before we get to this, it's time for station identification. You are watching Xenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters on KXNO, part of the Xenorama Broadcasting Network. We now return you to our regularly scheduled program. They could have done a little more with the language barrier here with him not getting it, but bottom, ass, things like that. And there's his wife there, and he says it's nothing. And it's just like every other, like all the others. She takes great offense to this, so gets to look at it, but he's like, it's not there. Oh, it's her twin sister. So off he goes there, and this guy was going to spend the night with her. Judo chop. It's about time the Americans start appreciating, and it is a national monument. So he's got it, but she makes him sign it. So the next there. And now they're leaving, but Mr. Hobbit shows up, and this guy gets knocked out again, and he looks at that and goes off on about the business. So the third one, they have to, as a guy with a lot of money, so they can't bribe him, with good manners. And they pretend that they're the royal doctor. They're in Jim West's train. So Prince of Wales is a Chinese physician. She's suffering from sciatica, so he cures her with acupuncture, which can really help sciatica. I've not had sciatica, but I've had acupuncture in the past. It's very effective. And she's like, okay, he's fortunately he's got to put it along the sciatic nerve, and I don't know how many of you know anything about acupuncture, but you can't move once those needles are in because then it does hurt. But he gets to look at the message and just cured her. So, yes. I don't know if they got paid or not, but probably. And here's our villains catching up with him. They take a look at her butt, and now we figure out that the last one is the Chinese girl. And take her with us. So the map is the MacGuffin. I just like this. Nothing can really hurt the skull of a true English gentleman, Pip, pip, what? And he goes back to the town there. They're old friends. And so in the note we saw, her name was Leah Hua. And the subtitles say Lee, and I believe the dub does as well. But so these two, they like each other. And she doesn't speak any Chinese or read any Chinese because she's born there. It's a burlesque show. Everyone's having fun. And he's recruited the Calico Gang, he being Mr. Hobbit, and a gunfight breaks out. And they burn down Leah's, the Hua residence, and kidnap her. And he's still shooting away at him. And he's like, help her, take her to China with you. So we got great scenery again here. And Ho tries to pay off Dakota because he thinks it'll be dangerous. And he's like, I'll show you what. And they find him, and now they're annoyed because he killed a bunch of Calico's guys. So look at that scenery, though; it's gorgeous. He's out, and he lies to him because they want to know Ho is, who's just watching him from behind. But he figures a way out. Judo chop, well, judo punch, and then they meet each other. So okay, so he's gonna beat up old Calico there. He's like 2 punches in. The fight breaks out and then it's over, which is a real fight. And he's like, "Here, take the gun. I don't want weapons." Okay, you wait for me. I'll cause the distraction. And he frees, and Hobart is there torturing her she's barefoot and they've set a fire underneath the bottom of the cage so her feet are warm. Not unlike what Jimmy Wong Yu did, the one-arm uh, boxer did to the TIE fighter and Master of the Flying Guillotine. See, there it is. But he's sneaking about. He knocks him out. Too much tequila. Por Pedro. Then a gunfight breaks out. He rescues Leah, and they're all shooting at each other. Finally, the standoff here. You can hear the good, the bad, and the ugly theme, right? The war is over. This guy tries to attack him, and Ho interferes, so they have their fight. It's a pretty good one. It's not much on martial arts, but it works in both of their favors because, and Dakota's got old Hobart undercover. And I did like this shot where he chops through the 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 post there. That was great. And the fight, it's not bad. And the good bad guy gets some moves in, though he's not going to live. Falls off there, down dead. And meanwhile, Dakota's distracted, and guess who goes for a gun laying up by one of his gunsel's sides? But blam, 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 and he's dead. So they return to China, and he doesn't have the treasure. Uh-oh. And now they're going to kill him, but he's like, nope, it's right here. It's in this wooden Native American. And he chops off the head, and there it is. Dakota shoots it open, and it's American Railways shares. He's 10 times richer. Now, how is he going to use that money? I mean, but good for his uncle. And now they're off to see China. There they go. Come on. So off they go. And I'm assuming they lived happily ever after. Gorgeous shot. I'm also assuming this was shot at the Shaw Brothers Studios where they had this, wonderful property. But that is the end of the movie. I quite enjoyed it. I might actually should have given this 5.5 stars, 5.5 Xenocubes. But 5 is a good rating. And you know what to do if you are leaving. All right, my fellow agents. Tomorrow we are going to be reviewing Gao Ranger versus Super Sentai, which is a lot of fun. And I was very happy to be able to find it in a slightly better form than the one I have. And because Sven is airing The Land Unknown, which I've already reviewed. But until that next assignment, this is X7 signing off and phasing out. And remember, the sun never sets on those who ride into it. You just got to keep going. Be seeing you.
ガオレンジャーのオリジナル新作ビデオがこの夏早くも登場だ。戦士の魂を奪われた俺たちはもはや戦うことはできないのか。でも俺たちは決して諦めない。偉大な戦士たちから受け継いだスーパー戦隊魂で必ず地球を守ってみせる。テレビでは絶対に見られない歴代ヒーローとガオレンジャーが夢の共演。110戦隊ガオレンジャー対スーパー戦隊。